Well, good afternoon to all the urbanists out there. It depends where you're watching from the world because time is relative. We're going to go today on a journey through the soul of my show and myself. So feel free to literally ask me anything. For the first 15 minutes, I'll be answering any questions about urbanist related topics. So about travel, cities, history, food. You can ask me anything about urbanist related topics for the first 15 minutes. Afterwards, we're gonna go buck wild, beyond urbanists. So I won't be answering any more questions about urbanists after the first 15 minutes, and it'll be about literally anything else. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my den. Feel free to ask me anything. Hello, George. Hello, Adrian. Hello, Dwayne. Nice to see you here. And welcome everyone. Let me know where you're watching from. Hello, Vina. Nice to see you here. Vina, thank you so much for tuning in. Hello, Helen. Chris says 42. I'm glad you got the reference, Chris. So the title of this video is Ask Me About Life, the Universe, and Everything, which is a direct reference to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is one of the best books in my opinion ever written. It's one of the funniest books ever written by Douglas Adams. Perfectly captures British humor, I think. So yeah, let me know also if you're able to hear me correctly, because I have a new microphone. I got a nice shotgun mic that now I can mount on top of my phone, called the Rode Wireless. No, it's the Rode Go Mini 2, I think it's called. I forgot the name. And the light is blinking. Oh, I don't know why it blinks on purple light. That's so weird. It does not blinking for me visually. So in person it's not blinking, but on camera it's capturing it as blinking. So maybe let me try dimming it. Okay, Google, dim bedside to 50%. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, that's a lot better. Where did you get your light? This is a LifeFix lights. I love that company. Okay, so I have my tea steeping. I'll be answering any urbanist related questions. Someone asked me if I'm ready for my trip. So I was steeping my tea and take away all the tea bags. I like my tea very strong because I put a lot of peppermint in it. So I have a super peppermint tea now. The lamp is possessed. So yeah, I'm super excited for my trip. I have a huge stack of books right over there of the places I'm traveling to. Kay got her postcard. That's awesome, Kay. For people who want to receive a postcard in England and Scotland and Wales, it depends where I'll be at. I'll be all around Great Britain. You can become a mega urbanist going to patreon.com/urbanist, or pressing that join button on YouTube, or pressing that become a supporter button on Facebook. When do you leave for your trip? I leave on Monday. You'll see me on Thursday. I'll be doing the first official live video, but put on that bell notification, or on Facebook, put !notify. Right now on Facebook, all the Facebookers, write !notify. If you write that down on Facebook, it's a new feature. You will be notified of my live videos. So aside from my scheduled ones, which you'll know when I'm live, I sometimes do random live videos, which I'll do one probably at the airport, maybe, and probably one maybe when I arrive. What's been the most awkward time in your travels? Ask Son of a Shepherd. The most awkward trip I've taken, I think, has been Romania, Bucharest. The Romanians are amazing. I met so many wonderful Romanians, so I'll preface with that. But I cover a lot of history, and there was a certain kind of depressed mood in Bucharest when I visited. And a lot of the people were not so eager to talk about the history, which is understandable because Romania went through some very tough times in the past 100 years. And it was for me, it was kind of a little bit of a culture shock because here in America, we're so proud of our history. And then going to other countries like England, Paris, Ireland, cities in Italy, they're so proud of their history. So it was a bit of a culture shock going to a country where it's almost not why they don't want to speak of it. And they don't want to emphasize it. Make sure you head up a tea room when you're in London. I will be hitting up a tea room when I'm in London. And if I do it, I might do it as an episode, or if I don't, I'll announce when I go to the tea room. How's the public when they notice you filming? Have you had horrible issues with someone asking to lower the camera? JJ, great question. Here in New York City, I've only had one instance where someone aggressively told me to stop filming them. Only one time. And what I did in that situation, excuse me, what I did in that situation, I think this was captured it's on YouTube. It was like a little bit more than a year ago. I just walked away. I just placed my camera down and walk away. I'm not gonna stop the live video because the person was just being weird. You already know me. I don't cross boundaries when it comes to filming. I'm not that type of vlogger or live streamer. There's live streamers who do that, who do cross boundaries on purpose, but I don't do that. So the guy was being weird, and I kind of just stopped. Marianne says the background music is annoying. It's a bit loud. Okay, Google, put volume down to 3. And then it depends on the country in terms of awkwardness. Some countries are very comfortable with the camera. Ireland was super comfortable with the camera. It was very easy to film everywhere in Ireland. Same thing when I went to London 4 years ago. Super easy to film in London. It was fairly easy to film in Paris and in Rome as well. It just got a bit awkward in Bucharest. As I mentioned, especially with the history, they kind of got a little bit weird about it. It was very awkward in Madrid. In Madrid, yeah, very awkward. A lot of people kind of covered their faces when I was walking around. It was very weird. I quite did not like it. I did not like filming alone in the restaurant. I felt like I was really the odd man out. People found it weird that I was A, dining alone, and then B, using a camera. So Madrid is by far the most awkward place I've ever been to when it comes to filming overall. And then I've had instances where people I did say that, hey, I'm filming, like I'm making a live video, tell me later, like, hey, you did not tell me you were filming. Which is a bit weird. I usually don't respond if someone says that. What brand of sneakers do you wear usually, Dave? So I got 7 more minutes of any questions about Urbanist. Then afterwards, I'll answer anything else. I usually use Converse is my top sneaker brand, but I buy the Converse sneaker. I usually buy Converse boots or Converse mids. Those, in my opinion, are some of the best walking shoes in cities because A, they look stylish. Some Converses can pass off as a more formal shoe, but B, they're sneakers, so they're very comfortable for long distance walking. So I love Converse mids and boots. They're my favorite. Converse lows and kind of the classic Converses are the sole's too thin, so it's very hard on the feet after long distances. And the boots, the very high tops, also very thin soles, they're not the best. So yeah, that's what I wear. And then for snow boots, I wear Wolverines. Those have been the best I've used so far. Do you use a travel agent for Italy? No. I usually I plan all my trips on my own. Sean, yes, I am in New York. Hey man, can you please tell us how do lives in the US, do you have a roaming package? Oh, for SIM cards, that's a great question, Darren. For SIM cards, I buy the SIM card of the country. So I don't use Verizon, which I use here in the US, because that would be prohibitively expensive. It'll be $5 to $10 a day. It's $5 a day to use 100 megabytes in Canada or Mexico, and $10 to use 100 megabytes everywhere else. 100 megabytes, for context, is about a 10-minute live stream. One regular live stream that's 1 hour to 2 hours is anywhere between 1 to 5 gigabytes of data. So I would need lots of data. I need lots of data in order to live stream. So I tend to get SIM cards where I can get unlimited. I go to countries where they have reliable internet service. And I prefer countries where not only the internet service is reliable, but it's also easy to get unlimited data, which is the case in England, the case in Ireland, the case in Italy. Italy was not unlimited, but it was like 70 gigabytes, which was quite enough. I had to use 2 different cell phone companies in order to have enough to live stream for a month, but that wasn't too bad. It was the case in Greece, there was unlimited data. It was not the case in Mexico. Mexico was very expensive. Mexico overall was a very cheap country to visit. The most expensive thing in my entire trip was the cell phone data. I was spending $25 every 2 days. And I was there for 2 weeks. So I ended up spending quite a lot, like $300 or $400 for cell phone data. And it was unreliable. So yeah, it was tough in Mexico. I recommend 3 Mobile. That's what I'll be using, B. Chris. Yeah, I'll be using 3 Mobile. It's great to hear that it's good in Scotland. That's good to hear, because I'll be visiting Scotland. Any questions about exactly where I'm going, when I won't be answering. You just have to tune in. There's a schedule, 3 p.m. every time, Thursdays through Sundays, 4 days a week. There'll be a live stream in Great Britain, UK time, 3 p.m. Wherever I am, you'll see me at that time. Lena says, do you travel alone? I do at the moment. Yes, I'm traveling to Great Britain alone. I do, yeah. Hannah, thank you so much for the 100 stars. 3 minutes, ask me anything about Urbanist, and after that, no more travel or Urbanist related questions. We're going to the philosophical chat portion. You got to visit Newcastle. I'll keep it in mind. I like the Newcastle accent. I like the actor Charlie Hunnam. And I love the movie he did, The Gentleman, directed by Guy Ritchie. He uses his Newcastle accent. This is such a great accent. I love that accent. Marina says, yes, don't tell us. Keep it a surprise. Yep. Can you do Disney one day? Raji, I'm tempted. I'm tempted to maybe like a weekend go to Disney. It's not that expensive to travel down to Florida, luckily. So yeah, I'm tempted. How are you not afraid to travel alone? Well, you already know where I go. I go to countries where it's easy to travel alone, generally. So England, Scotland, Wales, easy to travel alone. I already been to England before. I imagine Scotland and Wales are no different. It's very easy in big cities because you can easily dine. You can easily, if you're fully a tourist, you can easily entertain yourself. If you're traveling solo, but I'm doing work at the same time, so unless if I travel with someone that either A, understands that I'm working, or B, they are working with me, those are probably the only 2 instances I would travel with someone. The person would have to understand that I'm working, because what I do here in Urbanist is work. I'm going live 4 times a week, but the other, at least 2 or 3 days a week, I am going exploring to other places. I'm filming short videos for TikTok and Facebook and Instagram. Maybe YouTube Shorts, I'll start posting soon. I'm researching, I'm exploring new things, maybe reaching out to places to see if I can cover them inside, things like that. Are there more stores opening up in New York City? That's a good question. Yes and no. There are areas where they are starting to thrive a little bit more, and there's areas where a lot of people are getting priced out and they're dying and they're not able to pay the rent and businesses are closing. So yeah, it's a complicated topic. I would say New York City's still thriving. It's still vibrant, and it probably won't change overnight. I hope nothing happens on the scale that happened in New York City in the 1970s. Though I know people who were alive back then probably say that New York City was very cool back then. So, yeah. In the 1970s in New York, a lot of things started shutting down. Parts of the city kind of just basically went dark. And businesses kind of evacuated the city. So it was less vibrant in the respect of small business, maybe more vibrant in the respect of nightlife and artists and things like that. But it was less vibrant in small business. So that took about 5 to 6 to 10 years. I think that started around like 1960s is when it started kind of going downhill. So it took a while to that to happen. I hope that doesn't happen in New York. I would not want to return to 1970s, though I'm nostalgic about this. This is interesting. Okay, everyone. I'm going to scroll back, see if anything else was asked about Urbanist, and then I'll be answering any other questions. Are there any other areas in New York that you have not explored? There's a lot of residential areas in the city that my friend Action Kid has explored. I don't go. I usually am not so entertained. I don't find it entertaining to go to the suburban or residential areas of the city. So check out my friend Action Kid. He covers a lot of those residential neighborhoods that are kind of off the beaten path for most tourists. What is the safest neighborhood in New York City? It is everywhere in Manhattan. Manhattan below 96th Street. Sure, there's crime stories that you'll hear, and it's unfortunate that that does happen in the middle of Manhattan. But generally below 96th Street, it's very safe to walk generally everywhere. Northern Brooklyn, most parts of Northern Queens. London or Paris? Which is your favorite? London, Fog. Paris is an amazing city and the one that I want to return as well. How much is the ticket from New York to England? I'm paying a lot. I'm paying $1,000, $1,100, $1,200, quite a lot round trip. It is expensive. I think the cheapest ticket you can get is like $700. Geordie accent is the best, says Sandra. Well, you live in Switzerland. I would visit Switzerland. I'm not sure if I would live there, but I am very curious to explore Switzerland. Hannah sent 100 stars. Thank you so much, Hannah, for the 100 stars. Visiting St. Patrick's Day. Any recommendations for things to do in March? Kevin, there's a lot of things. March is not a very vibrant month for New York. It might snow in March, but it is fun. You can do a bunch of things. Go to the East Village for food. Go to a Broadway show. It's still pre-tourist season, so you might be able to catch Broadway shows for a good price. And also go to Williamsburg. Check out Williamsburg. And Sean asked something along the lines of, do you recommend... would you recommend traveling to New York at this time? Yes, I would. All right, so ask everyone, the Urbanist Q&A portion is done. No more questions about travel, about Urbanist, about YouTubing, about food and history. Feel free to literally ask me anything else beyond those topics. There'll be plenty of opportunities when I go abroad where you can ask me questions again about travel. But now literally ask me anything else. Al, I'm sorry, I will answer those questions later. Feel free to ask me later. Show us your owl collection. I have one over there. I have a few over here. Yeah, I collect owl statues. All right, you want to see it? I'll show you. I've collected 3 thus far. This one I got in Greece. This one I got in Florence from a porcelain maker. This is porcelain. And this one I got in Mexico, made out of obsidian. So yeah, I got 3 of them. This one is probably the most prized one because it's fully made out of porcelain, so it's very expensive. The other 2 are really cool. This one, I'm not sure what rock this is, but it's very heavy. This one is definitely a rock that you find in Greece. And of course, obsidian, really cool star. Dawn sent 500 stars. Thank you so much. What made you decide to collect owls? I'm fascinated by the owls of New York. So watch my latest video on that. Go on my TikTok, Ariel Vieira. I'm just fascinated by owls. I know they're associated with a lot of occult things like the Freemasons. I'm fascinated by those topics. I'm fascinated by the occult. Though, of course, I don't fully agree with the practices of certain groups in that realm of our world. But I find the owl to be very multifaceted. The owl is not just associated with darkness, with the occult, with danger, with death. But it's also associated with knowledge, with wisdom, with patience, with fortitude. So it's kind of a multifaceted animal. Find it very fascinating. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Mais, that's a great question. That's a great question. I don't know. That's a great question. You know, that is one of the greatest puzzles of life. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Sonia, have you ever been to Puerto Rico? Yeah, I have been to Puerto Rico. Many times. I used to go on a few times a year when I was young. How has the pandemic affected your life? Who asked that? B. Chris, great question. The pandemic was very good to me. My heart goes out to anyone who suffered tragedy or hardship, because not all tragedies were associated with the sickness itself, but hardship was also staying alone, losing the job, being away from family, being stuck in another country. There's a lot of hardship. I was very grateful that that did not happen to me. It was a privilege, and I had the opportunity to provide entertainment to people via live video, which people were very yearning for in the middle of the pandemic. So I ended up getting a lot of viewers in the pandemic, and it was the first time where I was really able to fully do live video and YouTube and Facebook full time. Like, I could sustain myself just by making the videos and not even needing to seek out sponsors or doing the business side. Like, I can fully make money, a living, from just entertaining, doing this. And that was a great privilege. Yeah, that's how the pandemic has affected me. If Jesus is God, why did he not know he would return his vice? Wow, that is a very theological question. That is a very theological question. That is dealing more with the semantics of, I think, of Scripture. And Scripture is still written by men, by people, by human beings. So when we read about the stories of God, Jesus, or any others around the world, Buddha, Brahmin and Hindu, Kali, etc., etc., etc. There's a huge list. Usually they're through the lens of humanity. some religions in the world claim to have had scripture bestowed upon them and they wrote it automatically, but usually still through the lens of that human being. So that's why we have human elements in our scripture. But to answer the question, if Jesus is God and God is Jesus, then why did he not know about certain things? Well, you could say that is, it's very hard to verbalize that, but that is a drama that we have made as humans. So to fully comprehend the all, the God or the being or the supernatural force that binds everything is beyond our human comprehension. We can feel it maybe, but we can't really intellectualize it because it's beyond our realm of existence. So that's why it's hard to answer a question like that. Suraj says, why are you so boring? Well, Suraj, just go somewhere else. Susie says, that's why I've been addicted to Urbanist during the pandemic. Who's your guardianship? What do you mean? Adam, I don't have a guardian. Thank you so much for tuning in, George. Language is not necessarily in terms of evolutionary development. It is exceptional. In other terms, not mutually exclusive to the development of species, says Aaron. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to be said about languages being actual divine force. You know, it is no coincidence that in English, a lot of the words associated with magic also are for language. Spells and spelling, intention. There's a lot of words that kind of overlap. Judith says, just talk about inspiration and intuition. Indeed. Language is interesting, says Aaron. It is indeed. Judith says, yes, we can't intellectualize it. Yeah, it's very, we can't. It's very hard to do so. Yeah, I agree. Ariel, talk about what books you read. Questions that came to mind because of the bookshelf. I've been mostly reading books about London recently. What was a book outside of London that I've read? Oh, yeah. I've been reading about the history of men's fashion. So I read a book called True Style, written by G. Bruce Boyer. It was the history of men's fashion. And this is interesting because I have a fashion documentary, Rise in New York, and I have a documentary on YouTube about fashion. But fashion usually is through the lens of women's fashion. That's how we mostly know about it. High fashion, Vogue, New York Fashion Week, Paris Fashion Week. All this mostly is through women's wear. Men's fashion sure is part of the high fashion world, but there's a lot more fashion, or a lot more to learn beyond fashion, which is something that's transient, that comes in and out. Someone like Karl Lagerfeld or Rick Owens, you know, these guys are transient. Their styles come in and out. But there's menswear that has transcended fashion. The suit has been around for at least 150 years, and there has been a version of it for about 400, 500 years. So that is very interesting, how these very classic pieces come to be and how they change over time, but just very slightly. The t-shirt, the jean. There was a chapter about the turtleneck. the sweater, the pullover. These items are overlap with the history of military, of war, because the turtleneck was worn by soldiers in World War I who were patrolling the northern Atlantic. They had to wear turtlenecks because it was the only way to really stay warm. It also collides with the history of industry. There's a huge trend right now wearing overshirts. And overshirts are workman shirts that were used by men who were working in the factories of France, and then later went to the factories of England and America, and they wore overshirts. I actually bought myself an overshirt. I wore it once for a live video. I'll probably wear it again when I go to England. So all that, very interesting stuff. That fashion, within quotes, is more than just women's wear, kind of the high fashion that we think about. It's more than that. It's about the iconic pieces, the classic things we have in every wardrobe all around the world. What currently inspires your men's fashion? I am inspired to go back into classics. I love my floral shirts. I still have a huge collection of them. I'll probably wear them again in summer. But this year has been the first time I started wearing more sweaters and more sweaters. I've been wearing more things. More sweaters, more overshirts, I've been wearing a turtleneck. It hasn't been quite warm enough, but I still have suit jackets in there that I might want to wear again. More subtle shirts, more kind of solid color shirts, things like that. I've been wearing more of them often. Wearing different types of pants beyond the jean. I bought myself kind of like military pants that are like a twill. So it's hard to describe, but it's kind of a different texture from a jean. Did Shakespeare change English? Stay tuned. I will be talking about Shakespeare, Adam. Stay tuned. In February, I'll be going to the Globe Theater at the very least. And if not, I might be going to where Shakespeare lived. So stay tuned. I will be covering the Globe Theater, covering about Shakespeare and English. But short answer, yes. Long answer, yes. I'll tell you soon. I love your jacket with the embroidered shoulder. Yeah, it's a really cool jacket. I gotta wear it again. Sandra says, have you wearing cargo pants? No. Cargo pants. I don't like that style. I like my style is casual elegance. That's why I like to name it. There's people out there who are very streetwear centric. You see any video of mine where I'm walking around Manhattan or Queens or Brooklyn, you'll see streetwear. You'll see or watch any of the fashion videos on YouTube. There's people who even interview people who are wearing interesting pieces. So they're wearing here right now like the Carhartt jackets. They're wearing like the very baggy kind of sweatpants, the very kind of fancy hyper designed sneakers. They're wearing all these things. I'm not into that look, though. I'm still not into kind of too formal. I have not bought in I have like a full suit in there, but I barely wear it. So I haven't really started wearing suits. So I haven't gotten formal, but I haven't gotten too casual either. I'm not a guy who just wears a t-shirt and some jeans, which could look very good if you do it well. I'm not that type of person. So I call myself casual elegance. Sandra says you should wear it sometime. The suit? I wore it on the live video, actually, back in 2020. And I was nominated for a Shorty Award 4 years ago. Paul says, very disappointing you're not taking the raincoat I bought for you specifically for trip to the UK. Oh no, Paul, thank you so much for the raincoat. That raincoat is a bit heavy and very, very thick to take over, and it's hard to combine with other pieces. So that raincoat will have to stay, unfortunately. not quite appropriate for England, for traveling, gallivanting through the UK. But thank you so much for gifting it to me. I will find a use for it, especially when that is more appropriate for New England. I'll find a use for it when I travel soon. Mask, where do you buy your share? I bought it at Staples, which is a office chain store here in the US. And I think the maker is Lazy Boy. Lazy Boy. Paul says, return and get something you'll use. I already have a raincoat that I'll use, but thank you. I'll definitely keep it. It's a very nice raincoat. It is an awesome raincoat. I want to keep it just in case there is a massive hurricane, definitely, or a tropical storm here in New York City. I think it would come to a very good use. Judith says, thank you. It looks fantastic and comfy. You'll need a big coat for Scotland. Yep. I have one. That blue coat I've been wearing this winter is the one I'll be bringing with me. It's thick, it's warm, and it's waterproof. And then I have a very thin raincoat underneath to wear in the middle. And then I have other layers. So I come very well layered. Where are the books on your table? I have books about England and Britain. Can I ask, I'm traveling to New York. Oh, you can ask me any questions about travel later. I go live tomorrow, Saturday, 1 p.m. Right now, we're answering any questions beyond travel or history, or architecture, urbanism, food, anything beyond that. Do you like corduroy, says Kathy. I have like one pair of corduroy pants. I barely use them because they're red. I never found them super comfy, but I saw a corduroy shirt that I wanted to get, but I didn't get it because they didn't have my size. But I'm very curious about corduroy. I don't wear it yet. Have you watched The Gilded Age? Not yet. I really want to see it. You picked the right day to go to do a Q&A. It's so rainy out. Yeah. Well, the day is, it's the first Friday of every month, but it is a good day to do a Q&A indoors. Do you think humanity would find contentment overall? Wow. Ron, humanity is a very wide variety of people. There's people out there who are going through very tough hardship for many, many different reasons. There's personal reasons from the individual level to the societal level. So, will we ever find contentment as a whole? That is a good question. I don't know. I don't know if we are meant to. If you want to get very existential about it, I'm not sure if Earth is meant to be a place of pure contentment. Or like our realm of existence. I'm not sure if it's meant for 100% contentment. And if we get to that level, maybe everything will change. It'll be no longer the Earth we know. Ironically, the Gilded Age begins with scaffolding on the 5th Avenue. Oh, interesting. Oh, Paul, that is very interesting. Will you be hanging out with any famous people in the UK? I don't know any celebrities in the UK. Now, of course, I'll be hanging out with my friend Boris. He'll be showing me around 10 Downing Street. And then I might be hanging out with Richard Curtis because he wants me to do a cameo in his next film. But that's it. I don't have too many celebrity friends. Maybe I'll have tea with David Attenborough, but he can be quite talkative. He talks a lot. Yeah. No, I don't know any celebrities. Though I would love to do all of those things. They would be amazing. SVL says maybe not a great idea to associate with Boris. I don't know any of the politics in Britain. I have not really researched any of the politics in Britain, so I don't know about them. And I wouldn't go into the politics, but I think it would honestly make a fun episode, non-political whatsoever, to walk around 10 Downing Street with Boris. I've seen videos of him showing the city of London many years ago when he was the mayor of London, and they were very highly entertaining. Again, not getting into any of the politics about him or any of the policies he's implemented. I personally don't know the full story about that, but as a human being on camera, he's very entertaining from the videos I've seen of him showing something, aside from the political things. We could show you J.K. Rowling's house. J.K. Rowling, now that's a woman who's very controversial. I would not hang out with J.K. Rowling, though I admire the work that she's done. Go now. He might not be there for much longer. Oh, interesting. Okay. We can show you J.K. Well, it's cool that J.K. Rowling has a house, Gary. That's awesome. You would have tea with the Queen. Yeah, that would be cool, Mater. That'd be really cool. Thank you so much for tuning in. All parties are canceled at Downing Street. What? Again, I do know the politics, so let's not get into any of that. Can you meet up with Kate Middleton when you're in the UK? Oh, interesting. Yeah, she would be fun to visit. Do you have any famous followers or subscribers? I don't know on YouTube if I do, or on Facebook. I don't know. I don't think so. On TikTok is where I have a few celebrity followers. I have Casey Neistat, Rob Lowe, and Maggie Chan, who was very famous in the 90s in America for being a comedian and in a few sitcoms. So three celebrities, three mainstream celebrities. What do you think of Harkles, Meg and Harry? I don't know too much about them at all. I'll say this, I don't get the vibe that I would want to hang out with them or to like do a video with them. I'll say that. I think it'll be a lot more entertaining to do a video with like a Boris or a David Attenborough or there's many other celebrities in the UK that I would do a video with. David Tennant would be a great guy to do videos with. Kate Beckinsale, Richard Curtis. Oh, there's so many others. Can't wait for your UK stream, says Catherine. I'm so glad. And the Rogan Guy podcast. Very controversial, yeah, but I wouldn't mind being on this podcast. I think it would make a good conversation. What do you think? Are intuitive messages, signs, clues neutral or non-emotional, or just the opposite? Judith, that's a great question. So I think if you get no feeling, it doesn't mean anything. Like it's neither good nor bad. This is neutral. So your intuition is not telling you anything. So it doesn't mean that you're going to suffer any consequences. It doesn't mean that it's going to be very positive. So if you meet someone that's kind of neutral, yeah, let's just be neutral. I think you should listen to your intuition when you really get that sense on the other side of the spectrum, whether it's really positive, like intrigue, curiosity. And remember, curiosity can get morbid curiosity, so you gotta be able to discern sometimes those feelings that are sometimes associated with being positive. You gotta be able to discern between whether they're actually positive or they're associated with more of a need, of a want, of a yearning. It's a very different feeling. Even say the word yearning. Think about a time you yearned. I feel a pit of my stomach right now even saying it. And think about a time you were like, oh, wonder, ooh, excitement, awe. It's a different feeling. So when you have fascination and curiosity, pay attention. Which side is it? If you have excitement, it's very different from anxiety. They might feel the same. They might have similarities, but they're opposite sides of the spectrum. So pay attention to those feelings. And I think it's very important that if you get a bad feeling, even if it doesn't make any logical sense, especially when you're walking around and traveling, pay attention to it. Don't go to that place if you get a bad feeling. Don't talk to that person if you get a bad feeling. Just don't do it. Move on. Don't go to that restaurant if you get a bad feeling. Move on. Follow your gut. Otherwise, you might eat something very bad and puke your guts. It might happen. But yeah. I think intuition is very important. Intuition is part of street smarts as well. Susie says, you like fashion. How about buying an authentic kilt? I am very tempted to do so. There has to be. I gotta do my research, but do you recommend, for all the Scots tuning in, is there a firm that has been doing kilts for generations? I'm very tempted to do one. It might make a very good short video or a vlog of actually going to a very old firm. I know that in Savile Row in London, there's old firms that have done suits for 100+ years. And then shirt makers and boot makers as well in London. But let me know, is there one in Edinburgh that does kilts? Or there's maybe a few. Don't they say that the nervous system is the second brain or something like that? It is indeed, yeah. David says, I'm the guy who asked you about sneakers or shoes earlier in the live stream. Hey, David, thank you so much for tuning in. Dave, will you try haggis? Yes, and on live video, I will. You'll all join me on the experience of the first haggis. We made Ray Winstone. I don't know too much about him. I do vaguely recognize that name, and I think I've enjoyed his movies. He's a guy who's easily confused with Brian Cox, I think. So yeah, he sounds interesting. Columbus says, yes, get a kilt. Watch Craig Ferguson in Scotland. He goes to a kilt store with Mila Kunis. Ooh, I will check that out. That's awesome that Craig Ferguson did an episode on that. I will check that out. Thank you. Research your Scottish name to find your kilt pattern. Yeah, my tartan. I have potentially up to 20% Scottish or Irish blood. So it's generally Celtic blood. I have up to 20% potentially. But I don't have any ancestors that came directly from Scotland, so I don't have a Scottish name. Kathy says, what is haggis? So you'll find out. It's something very controversial. Oh, not controversial, but it's something very divisive. People think either it's the best thing in the world or the most terrible thing in the world. And it's something that tourists usually indulge in because it's very typical Scottish. If someone can explain it to me, do let me know in the comments. I'll be doing more research about it, so I'll tell you fully what it is. I don't know off the top of my head right now. Did I take an ancestry? No, I did not take an ancestry. I'm judging by the ancestry that my dad took. So he has 20% Celtic blood, which is either Ireland/Scotland. It's either one of those two. Because the thing is, it's one of those two because there was a lot of overlap. There was a lot of mix in that area of the world. We'll learn more about that when I go to Scotland. but there was Irish Scots, or there was Scots Irish, actually. That was the name. Scots went to Ireland, Irish went to Scotland. The Irish were the first to go to Scotland hundreds of years ago, 1,000+ years ago, and the Scots went to Ireland a few hundred years ago. And then those Scots Irish went to the US. And potentially maybe also went to Puerto Rico, because Scots tried to take parts of the Caribbean. Unfortunately, they failed at it. But someone like Alexander Hamilton was a Scotsman raised in the Caribbean. So potentially there were Scotsmen also going to Puerto Rico. So potentially that's how I could have that lineage. So who knows? But my beard used to be with flecks of red. So I have a red-haired gene. You can barely see it right now with this lighting, but you notice it when it's very bright lighting. I have a lot of gray hairs on parts of my beard. I have gray hairs on my hair. Those gray hairs used to be red. Literally, when I first started growing my beard in my early 20s, they used to be red hairs. Those red hairs have since turned gray. So there's no longer evidence of my red-haired blood. And I heard that that's fairly common with people who have red beards, that the red beards turn gray first. Are you watching a lot of Peppa Pig for your UK trip? I don't even know about Peppa Pig. I'll look into it. Peppa Pig. If you go to Hampstead Heath, will you bump into Ricky Gervais or Liam Gallagher? Oh, interesting. I'll look into... I know about Ricky Gervais. I am a bit afraid of hanging out with him. He seems like such a serious fellow. He's like funny, but he's serious. If you know what I mean, watch any interview. That man is serious. He's serious, and yet he cracks jokes. Very interesting dichotomy right there. Columbus says, yes, it's true. Your hair is kind of reddish on the lights. I saw you for real. Yeah. Okay, so maybe I have a few strands here and there, but yeah. Mater says, you're still in your mid-20s. Of course, Mater. Of course I am. Of course. Still in my mid-20s. Very, very young. Columbus says Gervais is scary. Yeah, it's scary. I'm a bit afraid to even hang out with him if I had the chance. I learned that I had Ashkenazi Jewish ancestry from both DNA companies. Oh, interesting. Jupiter, that's very interesting. All right, everyone, I got myself a pastry from Olenstein. I'm a little bit hungry. I can stick around for about 30 minutes or so, but only under one condition, if you're okay with me eating a pastry, because I'm a bit hungry. So, yeah, for this video, I brought myself a snack just in case. So let me know if you want me to stick around, but under one condition, I gotta eat a pastry. Hey, fresh start, nice to see you here. Is there any British TV shows you like to watch? I love Downton Abbey, and I am very tempted to see if I can do a day trip to the estate that they filmed Downton Abbey in. I would love to do it, and the town, because they filmed pretty nearby the town as well. So Downton Abbey. I've loved many other British shows. I would love to, I've seen episodes of Doctor Who. I would love to go to Cardiff and cover Doctor Who. So maybe you'll see Doctor Who Museum in one of my videos. Broadchurch is one of the shows that really mostly blew me away. Broadchurch with David Tennant as well, and Olivia Colman was in that as well. They were both excellent. First two seasons are mind-blowingly fascinating and intriguing. Great thriller. And that says Doc Martin. I have not seen Doc Martin, but I have researched into Doc Martin, and yeah, it's very interesting. It's an entire show in Cornwall, yeah. And I have many other shows. I love, and in terms of books, I love Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, even though that barely covers England in the beginning. It's very English humor all throughout. I love the show with Neil Gaiman, Good Omens. Has scenes in England as well. Really love that show. Actually, the entire show takes place in England. Really great show. There's other shows. I've seen episodes of Outlander. I saw the first season of Outlander. Really fascinating show, how they show the Highlands. All right. No. What wonders will the James Webb Telescope will reveal? Rolex is referring to the new huge telescope that can magnify many times more than the Hubble telescope. What secrets will it reveal? Or will it reveal something we don't want to see? No, but in all seriousness, I think it'll be cool to see those photos of far deep space. Very intriguing. I used to love seeing those when I was younger. When I was a very little kid, I would just scroll online through photos of the Hubble telescope. I found them fascinating. I've always envisioned myself traveling to those places. Sandra says, do you think we're the only intelligent beings? I do not think we're the only intelligent beings. I think there's a lot more life in the universe. I think we might be living in a desert oasis where we don't see much life anywhere around. Imagine being a lizard or a scorpion in the middle of a desert oasis. There are real desert oases in the middle of the desert all around the world. Some of them are very big. I think there's a few very big ones in the Sahara. So if you are in a desert oasis and you're a little scorpion, you live your entire life in this beautiful oasis, greenery, there's maybe a water spring, it's gorgeous. But once you venture outside the oasis, it's just pure, harsh desert. Try to walk even a little bit and you might die from the harsh heat. Maybe that's Earth. Maybe Earth is that oasis in the middle of the desert. And we try to leave, we try to see what's out there, but it all seems desolate. So we just assume we're here alone. The lowly scorpion in the middle of a desert oasis might think there's nothing more to this world. That there is no Amazon. That there is no Niagara Falls, or the countrysides of Ireland, or the jungles of China. We are that scorpion. How do we get out of the desert? That's a good question. Now, the other thing I really would love to somehow do videos on, but they're a little bit tough to do for two reasons. One reason is the topics deserve a whole lot of nuance. And there's real history behind these topics, but it takes a lot to talk about them. And it takes a very kind of nuanced discussion. And the second thing is, these topics tend to attract a lot of conspiracy theorists that tend to kind of go a little bit overboard and kind of lose sight of the real stories that are within these topics. And the topics are, what if there are beings already on Earth that we just can't see, can't relate to because they're out of phase from us? So, for example, we perceive the world through eyesight, through the electric light spectrum. But we only see a portion of that electro light spectrum. Only a small portion. There's more than that. There's light that we can't see. infrared. We can't see infrared. There's things we can't see ultraviolet. We can experience, we can feel ultraviolet, but we can't see it. Or other things like that. So we can't see certain things, but we know they exist. And for millennia, there has been myths about fairies, about dwarves, about giants, about creatures like the Mothman here in the US, and other creatures similar all around the world. There's a lot of these myths all around the world that have very big similarities. And there's actually been paranormal researchers that have seriously looked into this phenomenon. If you want to see a really mind-blowing film, watch the Mothman Project. That's the name, the Mothman Files? I think that was the name of the movie. The Mothman. Fascinating movie, a real story, very creepy. That guy who's depicted in the film, who's played by Richard Gere, was a real journalist who studied a phenomenon where hundreds, if not more, people saw what was a being called the Mothman appear at night in their backyard or as they're driving by. And this was a very strange incident. So this journalist, a real journalist, again, this is a 100% real story. We don't know if the Mothman is real. We don't know if it's some massive collective delusion, some massive collective hallucination. Could be. But there were actual sightings. There were people who said they saw something. And he went to investigate. And as he was investigating, he found this very weird. Over and over again, the same exact sighting of the same exact creature. In the same exact ways, same exact descriptions. And they were revolved around one single town. Outside this town, there was nothing more. There was no sightings of this. And this is a phenomenon that has been reported in the US for centuries. With the Native Americans, they have this creature called the Mothman. And the Mothman is only supposed to appear on the eve of great tragedy. So this journalist, knowing about the Native American myth and all these sightings, found it very suspect. And when up happening is a bridge that connected this small town to another piece of land ended up collapsing with hundreds of people on it. So I'm not sure what was the death toll. It's called the Mothman Prophecies, a real story. And many people died. Very scary story. So this journalist decided to do research afterwards about similar instances of creatures where people only see them in certain circumstances. Why? Why is there so many stories of this all around the world, all throughout history? If you want to learn more about this topic, check out Supernatural by Graham Hancock is another book that covers this. So yeah, crazy stuff. I would love to see if there's a way to make videos on it. It's a bit scary sometimes as well. So yeah, it's a very interesting topic. And there's another topic called the Hollow Earth theory. So this also gets into conspiracy theorist territory and people can get very crazy about it. But if you stick to just learning about the myths, there's myths all around the world that the earth is actually hollow and there's beings inside the earth. And that ends up getting very crazy. So that's why those topics are very hard to make videos about, because the audience out there would, it's going to attract a lot of conspiracy theorists, and they're not the most pleasant audience, unfortunately. So it's hard to talk about those topics in a kind of a grounded, journalistic way. But they do make for good fiction. So maybe I'll explore those topics in fiction. And I think most of the people who have studied these topics, these myths and legends, have made into fiction. H.G. Wells, Jules Verne, they made great fiction out of it. So I think that's the best realm to explore those aspects of our history and mysteries of life. What do you think of Area 51? It's very intriguing stuff. I'm very curious as what is in Area 51. Wonder if you ever see any ghosts when you visit a Scottish castle. Oh, we'll see, Susie. I don't like hanging out with ghosts. I talk about them on occasion, but I don't intend on seeing them. You teach a lot on New York culture. You explain things very well, Manuel. Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoy the way I explain things. That's great to hear. As you know, Manuel, as many people know, especially in cities like New York, this is going to be the case when I cover London. There's a lot of people who cover the history of those cities in English, like I am, and sometimes a little bit in Spanish as well. A lot of people. And it's tough competition. So it's nice to hear that someone enjoys me for a specific reason that sets me out from the competition. It's very nice. I say competition, but it's not in a negative way. You know, we're all making videos. Ultimately, there's enough for everyone. But there's also a certain gamesmanship that there is between content creators. Obviously, we don't... no one I've met wants to destroy someone else's business or someone else's channel. But I think there's a certain gamesmanship to see how can one get best views, how can one attract the best audience or the biggest audience. So yeah, I'm glad to hear that you enjoy my channel for specific reasons. Are you in the UK now? No, Nicole. I'll be starting live streams next Thursday, traveling on Monday. SVL says, you're a gentleman. Oh, thank you so much. There was a tribe that made a plane god because they were getting supplies from a said plane, says Rolex. Yeah, that's a very interesting story, yeah. Well, I mean, if you go deep into the myths of India, they have depictions of gigantic flying objects that look like huge birds, but they're kind of shiny. And it's a bit weird because either they were exaggerating the aspect of a bird, or they were making up some mythical creature completely out of fiction, or alludes to potentially something more. Have you been considering starting a channel? Have been considering starting a channel, just haven't bought myself to do it yet. Do it, LEG. Algae, do it. Ron says, Urbanist is quality over quantity. Indeed. Zap says, I really enjoy your channel. Do you say you're visiting Wales? Potentially. I'm not sure yet. Stay tuned. Let me see the other comments. South coast of England, maybe. Stay tuned. Lee. Hey, do you know fellow streamer Ladmod? He's live streamed the pyramids recently. Yeah, wow. Someone actually beat me to streaming the pyramids. Yeah, that's so cool that someone streamed the pyramids. And there's been a few others. Brian Forrester also live streamed the pyramids. I gotta look into Ladmod, but that's so cool that he ended up doing that. Aaron says, potentially something more. That was an interesting statement. Oh, yeah. For a much longer conversation. What do you contribute to the success of your TikTok videos? That's a great question. 2 reasons. One reason. People on TikTok want authenticity. They want a video to feel relatable and real. They don't want polish nor extravagance or fanciness. Why? Because we're kind of burnt out from Instagram. For many people who consume online media, we're kind of burnt out from the high polish of Instagram and Instagrammers that are very, very good looking, have beautiful clothes, or looking out into the sunset. We're kind of burnt out from that. We're burnt out from TV that has a high polish as well. With the Oscars, you see that in the award show, there's a lot of high polish, and in many other types of shows, there's a lot of high polish. And then in YouTube, at least in the travel space, you have also very good looking women kind of doing travel, and by all means, some of them are really good, but sometimes sometimes people lean more into how they look than whatever the content is, or the entertainment value, or the informational value. And then you have the YouTubers out there that are mostly guys that kind of do fancy drone shots and crazy camera movements and the very high production value. People don't want that on TikTok. So I already on YouTube have always been someone who's kind of shown more of an authentic way of storytelling. I am very intentional with how I film things. I, by all means, know my film theory. I know how to edit something and take advantage of the edit. And I definitely know how to, I can definitely film something high production if I wanted to. But I've always been very good at kind of telling the story and making you feel like you're there with a friend, and not telling you a story making you feel like you're watching a BBC documentary or watching some fancy vlog. I don't like doing that. I like making videos that make you feel like you're there with me, not being guided by me or me telling you something. So live video is perfect for that because it's no edits, no cuts, no B-roll unless if I pull up a old video, historical footage, or a photo, but there's no B-roll, there's no drone footage. I keep it really kind of grounded, very real. And on TikTok, I've taken that and done that. So I do what I do in live videos. I tell a story and I film it without a script, which maintains the authenticity and makes you feel like you're there with the person, since it's not scripted and it's not planned ahead of time. So I film kind of run and gun. I know the story, I know my research, but I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know how I'm going to film it. I just go. And I do my very best to tell the story in one take for a portion of my videos. Now it's like 60%, 50% of my videos. Half of my videos are one takes, and then I trim them down. But by doing that, I managed to tell a story that can easily be told to you in person by a friend. And I think that's why people really like my TikToks. And they like it also on YouTube, and they like my YouTube videos, either vlogs or live videos. I think that's why. I think it's that kind of realness factor. And the second reason is more technical, is TikTok is the algorithm is localized. So YouTube is SEO, meaning people are searching for things. The reason people bump into my videos is because they're searching for New York City Live. That's why when I went to Venice or when I went to Greece, there were magical, majestic places, but a lot of people are not searching for Santorini Live or Venice Live. Not that many people are searching for that. So I didn't get as many views as I do in New York. But I keep on doing them anyways because obviously I have people who love to watch and are very loyal already at this point. So it still works. So that said, on Facebook, it's all about sharing. But on TikTok, the algorithm shows you stuff. You're not searching nor you're sharing necessarily. It's showing you stuff, and it's trying to find out who you are, where you are, and what you want to see. So that said, it feeds you stuff that is local first. So when I'm posting on TikTok in New York, it shows first the videos to people in New York City, then maybe in the region of New York, maybe to people in Long Island, maybe to New Jersey, maybe to Connecticut. If the video is super popular, big, then it starts showing it to people abroad who are interested in New York related topics or who have recently visited New York. So it's very localized. When I was in Ireland, I posted an Irish video, it showed it to Irish people. So in Ireland, I gained 100,000, nearly 100,000 Irish viewers. In Greece, it was like 30, 40,000 Greek viewers I gained. In Italy, similar. So I gain videos from all these viewers from all these countries when I post in the country. If I were to post a New York video in the middle of Dublin, probably won't do well because many people don't care about it. Which is good for me because the type of videos I do are of local interest, but they're also travel videos. So the live video portion is very travel. But any New Yorker, and we have New Yorkers tuning in, love seeing also my videos because they learn about stuff that not everyone talks about. Because I talk about history, I talk about architecture, I talk about urbanism. Same thing applies when I travel. So when I went to Dublin, yeah, I'm a tourist in Dublin, but I'm talking about a weird story that most Dubliners don't know about because I do my research. And the Dubliners love it, and the Irish follow it. So that's how I end up gaining a lot of viewers. Inspire Life. I hope that makes sense. For anyone who's doing TikTok, just be real and make sure it's of interest to people who are nearby as well. What platform do you recommend to start a channel with? To make money, YouTube. To get a lot of viewers quickly, TikTok. To potentially access a massive audience outside of the Western world, Facebook. Those three platforms. So it depends on your priority. If your priority is not to make money, go on TikTok. If your priority is to make money, go on YouTube, learn how to utilize YouTube. And Facebook is kind of a little bit different. Facebook, if you want to get gigantic amount of followers from all parts of the world, Facebook is powerful. I haven't figured it out yet. I have 85,000, 86,000 followers, which is a lot. But there's video creators out there with tens of millions. Nos Daily, Drew Binsky. And it's because those guys have covered stories in the Philippines, and Thailand, and India, and Pakistan. These countries with massive populations, and so many people follow them. Facebook is failing. It is in some ways, yeah. We'll be doing a call out with the Belfast bus driver. No. All right, so feel free to ask me anything else. You bought DC alive in so many ways. I'm so glad, Reggie. That's awesome to hear. I loved visiting DC. What do you think about Zuckerberg emphasizing short form videos? In December, I had so many videos that went viral on Facebook. It's very evident that Facebook is now emphasizing short videos. I had, luckily, and I was able to put ads on those videos. So thank you to everyone who watched those videos and played through the ad. Thank you so much, because I was able to make more income from all those short videos that I post on TikTok and barely make any money from it. So thank you so much. But yeah, it's changing. But Facebook hasn't really committed to any type of specific type of video. I think the video that has always worked best in the past 5 years has been what Nas Daily does. The square videos that are very straight to the point, 3 minutes or less. Nicole says, that's because you have a likable personality and a nice face. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Grayson says, notice me. Grayson, be nice. No caps in the comments. All right, everyone. I'll answer any questions for 10 more minutes. Feel free to ask me anything else. MK says, Miss USA jumped from her Manhattan balcony. That's so sad. I don't know anything about the story. That's so sad. Susie says, Facebook is targeting an older audience. I'm offended. Yeah, Facebook was powerful for targeting an older audience. And a lot of people in the world are obsessed for some reason with younger audiences. Someone says I have a modulated voice. Ryan, does everyone hear me okay? Let me know. E says, is that Vegemite on your toast you're eating? No, this is raspberry Danish. Ming says, I dumped Facebook. Oh, yeah. The pastry seems very dry. It's 1 day old. I bought it yesterday. The tourists always ask you why New York City pizzas and bagels are the best. Yeah, it's a common question. Ram says, are you American? Yeah, I'm a red-blooded American. American. Capital M. Apostrophe capital M. American. Always been a red-blooded American. I was born with the American flag wrapped around my little baby bosom out of the womb. But yeah. I was born in Puerto Rico, which is a territory of the United States. So I consider myself both Puerto Rican and American because I grew up here in America. And in Puerto Rico, it's very common to have a lot of American culture. So there's a lot of overlap in those two cultures. George says, American is so American, just like apple pie. Yeah, indeed, I'm American as apple pie. How come you maintain your good figure with all those New York foods? Oh yeah, good figure, Nicole. The key is to walk 10 miles a day. That's the key. I don't work out at the moment. Additionally, I mostly just walk and walk and walk and walk until my legs give out and have no more energy left in me. And then I walk a little bit more so I can feel the pain of my body collapsing under the exhaustion. And that's how I maintain a model figure. No, I do not condone walking toward the point of exhaustion. But I do walk about anywhere between 4 to 10 miles a day. Wintertime, it's more towards 4. Summer, that's when it starts going 10, sometimes even more. Can you show us your monthly walking tracker? I don't track at all the amount of way of walk because I don't like it. I find it very creepy. I find it kind of, I don't like putting a number to something I enjoy so much. I don't want to put a number to the joy of walking. I just want to walk. It's like putting a number on cups of wine. I just want to drink wine. Sometimes you just gotta walk. Forget the numbers. Forget the tracking. Be there, be present. With the beauty of your legs taking you across the city. And don't take it for granted. I've learned that. I have viewers from all parts of life and in different circumstances. I have a portion of viewers who are unable to walk around for 10 miles a day, to do a 3-hour walk, and let alone talk and eat and do a bunch of other strenuous activities. So don't take it for granted, anyone out there. If you're able to walk as much as you can. Otherwise, I'm making videos here walking because I know that many other people will benefit for those who can't. Judith says yes. Nice that you're streaming live. Your weather's quite something right now. Oh yeah, freezing rain. You're excited for the big trip? I am, Catherine. I am huge. Are you considering moving to 10 Downing Street, says Ron. Maybe I will. What's your favorite New York City bridge? The Manhattan Bridge. I'll move to 10. So to finish answering Ron's question, if I end up falling deeply in love with a young, ambitious English woman or British woman who is in politics and ends up becoming the prime minister, then I will move to 10 Downing Street. I'll be the first. Will I be the first American? No, I probably won't be because of Winston Churchill. But I'll be one of the short list of Americans that live in 10 Downing Street. I'll be the first. Was there a name for the first husband, prime minister version? In America, it would be the first husband. Let me know what's the name for the spouse of the prime minister. The Manhattan Bridge is my favorite too, says Donald. Oh, I'm glad. How come you're not walking today? Today's a philosophical chat, so it's better to do that sitting down, so I can chat in any way possible more calmly without needing to look out for traffic, dodge very weird characters out in the street, all the things. It's a lot more peaceful here sitting down. Mira says, how old are you? Old enough. Do you collect intuitive messages, like writing them down? Not so much. I write some things down, but not so much, Judith. Not so much. I have a notebook where I write things down, history notes, but I also write like personal notes. And sometimes I write if I really want to do something. Like every so often I write down a list of what I really want in life. Like really want, not ego-centered things. Like trying to listen to my heart. What does my heart want? I make a list ever so often in these notebooks. And that's how I kind of get grounded in how I move forward. Joe says, I love your channel. Thank you for your walkabout. But if you want to take a break from that, that's okay, says Patty. Thank you so much, Patty. Do you remember the intuitive places? So I do remember. The place I've had the most interesting experience has been Paris. Paris, I got an immense sense of deja vu. A lot of places I went in Paris. It just kept happening over and over again. I kept getting deja vu. And I visited Paris once before that trip, but the deja vu was of a different quality. It wasn't something, it didn't feel like something I did before. It's a bit weird. It felt like it was some other life. in Paris. The only place in the world I've gotten that much deja vu. I even mentioned this in one of the live streams. While I was live, while I had that experience of deja vu. Hey, Lori says, I'm looking forward to your exploration of Scotland as I have distant family in that beautiful country. Oh, I'm so glad. So glad. Do you travel with others? No, at the moment I'm traveling alone. I used to have constant synchronicities, but have not in a few years. This concerns me. Cynthia, I know what you mean. It's beautiful to have synchronicities. I would say relax into those lack of synchronicities. Because life doesn't always have to be in your face, giving you intuitive signs or whatnot. Whatever you interpret in the world, everyone interprets the world differently, but it doesn't always have to be so meaningful all the time. Sometimes it's okay to kind of just not need to experience anything out of the ordinary. Sometimes it's nice to be grounded for a little while. But I think the more magic of life starts happening when you're going out of your comfort zone. So that can mean different things for different people. So for me, getting out of my comfort zone was extending my trip in Italy for nearly a month without any specific plan of where I was going to stay ahead of time. That was going out of my comfort zone. I had a beautiful experience in Italy. I'm doing the same thing here in England and the UK. I'm not planning everything in the beginning. I'm kind of just going there and kind of going with the flow. And that's out of my comfort zone. Another comfort zone out of me was starting to make videos that weren't centered solely around history, like I used to in my early days of Urbanist. And people love those episodes, and they'll be back for UK. But I used to be very focused on just the history and the trivia about the city. But then I got out of my comfort zone and started doing videos that were more about sitting down in a cafe, having a cup of coffee, going to a place where there was nothing there touristically to see. But those moments have led to a lot of magic. So that said, if you are in a point in your life, for anyone out there, that it feels a bit dull, get out of your comfort zone. Even if it's a small way. Even if it means going to the next neighborhood you've barely been to. Or meeting up a friend you haven't seen in years. Or saying yes to a person you just met that has asked you out, either platonically or romantically, and say yes. Many, many reasons to get out of your comfort zone. Or if you have the budget, take a trip. Or post that piece of music that you made. There's a lot of different ways to get out of your comfort zone. So just do it. Have you been to San Francisco? No, not yet. Catherine says, have you met someone and instantly felt like you've known them forever? Oh, that's a great question. I have met people in my life that I've had an intense familiarity with before even really knowing them. It's happened to me a few times, yeah, where I kind of just like I know you, but I don't know you. I've felt that many, many times. And usually, I believe that's a sign to get to know that person. It might not lead to everlasting friendship, or if it's Or if at first you might confuse it for a romantic feeling, it might lead to a relationship. But you'll learn something. You'll feel something that will be a positive force in your life for years to come. So do that whenever you see someone, you're like, I kind of know you. But don't, especially if it's romantic, if it's someone of the opposite sex, if you're heterosexual or if you're not, whatever different sex or same sex it is, be sure to discern whether it's infatuation or if it's a knowing, that kind of mysterious knowing, or if it's a genuine curiosity about the person. Kind of be very discerning. Because if you're not, then the lessons you might learn might be very, very hard. Might be very, very hard. Do you ever judge your intuitive messages? I try not to. It's of course, our minds are always intellectualizing what our intuition is saying to us. So our heart might say, I gotta go to London. I gotta go to England. My heart might be saying that. But my mind might be saying, no, it's better that you don't go, for dozens of reasons. I've learned that the more I've listened to my heart, regardless of what the mind says, has always led to positive things. Nicole says, how can you tell the difference? The way you can tell the difference is try to quiet your mind. So do some meditation. Clear your head. Lay down in bed. Turn off all electronic devices. And try not to think of anything in particular. Just let your mind flow. Just treat your thoughts as clouds passing over the sky. Don't try to chase the cloud. Don't try to analyze the cloud and see what it looks like. But just let it pass through the sky. Do that with your thoughts. Let the thoughts pass. And when you're feeling, I think then the feeling that was in your heart will arise, if it truly was from your heart. So that has happened to me when I planned my trip to Mexico. Mexico was where my mind was freaking out. It was saying, oh, Mexico is dangerous. Mexico, oh my God, Mexico, who knows? There's probably no cell phone service there. Mexico, what if I'm kidnapped? A lot of things pop into my mind. What if I end up getting very terribly sick in terms of Montezuma's revenge and I lose most of my trip? What if, a bunch of things. And I was freaking out, and I was about not to even book the trip. But I sat down, I relaxed, I cleared my mind, and my heart said yes, go to Mexico. And I did indeed get sick in Mexico, and indeed was out of commission for a week once I arrived. But that's okay, because overall I really enjoyed the trip. It was a trip worth taking. Have you heard about the guy that walked the length of the Amazon River? No. Is that even doable? Because the Amazon River has a bunch of waterways. George, thank you so much. Everyone, thumbs up this video if you're enjoying it. I like now the real questions are popping up. Love your posts. It's difficult to keep your personal life separate from your online persona. Matt Johnson, great question, Matt Johnson. Yeah, it's a bit tough. Luckily not so much for me. It could be tougher if my YouTube and Facebook name were my name. It'll be tougher. And I had to make a decision on TikTok. Am I going to be me on TikTok? Is it going to be my life? Or am I going to be a version of myself where I'm providing entertainment to others and focusing on a slew of topics? I decided for the latter on TikTok because it's my name. So I've learned to make a difference between my personal life and my life making videos. I'm entertaining. The videos I make are not my life entirely. They're not who I am entirely. I love to show you authenticity, but it's authentically giving you entertainment, authentically telling you a cool story I enjoy. But obviously, I'm not going to tell you every aspect of my life. I am not an open book. But it doesn't have to be that way for any realm of entertainment. You can talk, you can entertain any way you want to. There's some people on YouTube that are very good at divulging their entire lives. And they're excellent for it. Actually, some of the biggest vloggers out there are doing that. And TikTok as well. But there's also equally popular channels out there, very famous people who do edutainment, someone like Tom Scott, MKBHD, do more storytelling like I do. There's a bunch of other people similar to me. You don't need to divulge your entire life to do online media. And if someone tells you otherwise, if a guru says, oh, you gotta share more about your life with others, that's what people want. Yeah, people do want that, but it doesn't mean you have to do it, because people also want to be entertained. And if people who are your customers, your clientele, so to speak, your audience is the best word, your audience, if an audience member demands to know more about you, demands that you divulge more about your life, you don't need to have them in the audience anymore. You don't need to pay attention to them. Because you do you live your life. And I found it a lot more easier to do live videos and to make online content by maintaining a clear difference between personal life and entertainment. And while I might seem very personable, obviously, these videos are entertainment. It's audience. The relationship of me with the audience is the entertainer and the audience. Unfortunately, on online media, it's very easy to kind of skew that, to blur those lines, and sometimes boundaries are crossed, and hearts are broken on both sides. And it's very tricky territory once you start blurring those lines of entertainer and audience. Because once you do, there's a lot more responsibilities in some ways, and there's a lot more risks. If you want to learn more about that topic, watch a YouTube channel called Internet Psych, I think is the name of the show. If anyone can clarify what the name of the show is, it's escaping my mind right now. I think it's called Internet Psych. Very good show. And this woman is a psychology major, and she makes documentaries about YouTube psychology, or the psychology of online media. And she has a few episodes of how a lot of online content creators, unfortunately, genuinely think their audience are their friends. And unfortunately, people in the audience genuinely think that the vlogger is their friend. Of course, there is friendliness, there is camaraderie, but when those lines blur and people don't understand the boundaries, a lot of negative things can happen. So it's a very good show. There's a content creator out there. There's a few content creators out there who experience those issues. But yeah, I don't know any off the top of my head right now. It's like an actor. Like an actor is playing a role. You can't expect the actor. You can't expect Adam Driver to be Kylo Ren. He's not Kylo Ren from Star Wars. He's another dude. He's Adam Driver. Would you consider a European river cruise, in particular down the Danube? Oh yeah, I would love to. Oh yeah, that would be really cool. I know there's a lot of history in the Danube River, MK. Oh yeah. Your ability to produce and change and govern yourself. Aaron says, protecting your sense of agency and autonomy. I think they're the most two important intellectual expressions. I still like your bench tests and look forward to seeing them in the UK. Yeah, me too, Lori. ¿Piensas visitar algún otro país o este año? Sí, Evelyn. Evelyn asks, do I intend on going to another country? Evelyn, sí. Este jueves va a ser el primer video que va a ser en el United Kingdom. I don't even know how to say United Kingdom in Spanish. But Inglaterra. Va a ser en Inglaterra. Tú vas a ver el primer video. El horario va a ser de jueves a domingo. A las 3 p.m. el tiempo de Inglaterra. Todos los jueves a domingo hasta el medio de marzo. So there'll be 4 shows a week, Thursdays to Sundays at 3 p.m. UK time, all the way through mid-March. That's very good Spanish. Wow, says Nicole. Thank you so much. It's an opinion show, and it's generally because your opinions, we believe, are truly yours, says Tanya. Well, I'm not necessarily an opinion show, necessarily, but yeah, the opinions I do share are mine, indeed. I'm not playing a character, by no means. So there are people out there who do not live videos, but there are people out there who do vlogs who play a character. I've never been that type of person. Live video, it's very hard to do. Live video, you gotta show more of yourself for live video, because it's like going on a tour. Like, you actually see the person, or hanging out with a friend. You're actually seeing them. So there's no editing. So it's very hard to play a full character. You really gotta commit. So there's barely instances of people doing that. Have you tried Costa Coffee? Yeah, I have. Have you ever had someone approach you like they are your friend because they watch you and had no idea who they are? Luckily, no, I've never had a very odd experience like that, but of course it is a bit odd for people to know more about me than I know about them. That is definitely odd, but it comes with the territory of being a content creator online, or any type of person who's on the public eye. It comes with the territory. So yeah, so sometimes people are like, oh, hey, Ariel, like, and they kind of already know who I am. But I don't know who they are. Of course, that happens often, of course, because the person watches the show. But it's never been freaky, luckily. I never had a terrible experience with that, luckily. I'm very grateful. Just found your channel. I love travel. What's your itinerary? Stay tuned. Thursdays through Sundays, you'll see what's up. It'll be Great Britain overall. I'll be sticking to the island. Never stop talking and see where your intuition tells you. Have you ever tried this technique? Ooh, I think sometimes one does have to stop talking to listen to your intuition, Judith. Will you be hosting SNL after the UK? Yeah, that'd be cool. I wonder how you can see all the comments on a small screen while doing a live walking and talking, says Cynthia. Well, it is an art. It is an art. Is Bob flying with you to England? I hope so. I hope so. I miss Bob. I want to hang out with him more. Maybe I'll meet Bob's ancestors. Or Bob has a few English Bobettes and Scottish Bobettes, so we'll meet them as well. Let's see what else. These are amazing questions. Thank you everyone so much for asking all these questions. I still remember your trip to Dublin. It was very interesting. I'm so glad. Existen personas que piensan que la meditación puede ser algo peligroso. Yo no creo es el caso, en mi opinión. En mi experiencia, la meditación ha hecho cosas bien maravillosas en mi vida y bien positiva. So Marilis says meditation, people say that could be very dangerous. I completely disagree. Some of the most marvelous things in my life have happened after meditating. You give great advice and so positive. Why are you not married? Says Nicole. I'm waiting to marry the future Prime Minister of the UK. The second female Prime Minister to ever come about. Because there has been one so far. You have the wisdom of a much older man in a young body, says Nicole. Thank you. Love your post. Is it? Oh, I already answered this. Thank you so much, Matt, for the amazing question. We Jedi must not have 4 romantic attachments, as pizza reviews on the go. Luckily, online consecration is not like the Jedi Order, nor like the priesthood. It does not require celibacy. Luckily, that's not the case with online vlogging. I wonder how will you top your Venice speedboat trip? Ooh. Inspire life. There's been 2 female prime ministers. Really, Kelly? Who's the second one? Margaret Thatcher. Who's the second one? I thought there was only one. There could only be one. What are you looking forward to most experiencing in the UK? The food. Maybe you'll meet Ernesto's cousin across the pond, says George. Yeah, maybe Ernesto's great English ancestor is there. George. Nicole says, how can meditation anyway be dangerous? Yeah, some people are just so very afraid. It could be very scary. For some people, it can be very scary to clear your mind. Very scary. So people are coming for all walks of life. And it might be very terrifying to even sit down and clear your mind, because we sometimes find so much comfort in the constant barrage of thoughts that are running across our minds. We find comfort in that. We find comfort in the worry or the anxiety that our minds produce, because we think our minds are keeping us safe. And to sit down and surrender to nothingness in the shape of not attaching yourself to the thoughts, to clearing your mind, to breathing, to doing nothing, can be as scary as jumping off a cliff. Because sometimes doing that is jumping off of a cliff. It is a death of sorts, a death of your ego into a new life of divine intuitive flow. So yeah, it can be scary. Are there tours of Buckingham Palace? I gotta check. Lori, that is a good question. I didn't even consider yet even looking into going to Buckingham Palace. I will check. That is a good question. I would love to show the inside of Buckingham Palace. I believe these chats are good learning seasons, and so much for the celibacy. Elizabeth says, it's hard to meditate. How can I learn? I think the best place to learn is the app called Headspace. Headspace does a very good way of explaining meditation in very easy terms. It's an app, so you could do it alone in your own room. And they're only 10 minutes. So it's very, very easy to learn using Headspace. That's how I learned. they might charge a monthly fee. So if you're looking for something free, I think the fee is only like $2 or $3 a month, and you can cancel anytime. If you want something really free, then search on YouTube. There's a lot of meditation offered. One of the best people, in my opinion, is Jason Stevenson on YouTube. Is great for meditations. I think he's one of the best. Jason Stevenson. The downside is he tends to do very long meditations, like 30 minutes to an hour long. Who else is a good one? There's many other people who are good. Just search around. I think Buckingham Palace is only open in the summer months. Yeah, okay, I think so. I might visit Windsor as well, so I'll see if I can see Windsor. Favorite icebreaker question when you sit down on a long haul plane flight to a stranger next to me, says Mirna. Mirna says, I don't even talk to the stranger next to me. I very rarely engage with anyone on the flight. I don't even like potentially starting to talk because on the flight, I kind of like staying to myself. So the moment you even strike up a conversation, you run into danger of having a person next to you who's very talkative. And I don't want that. So I tend to not even start a conversation. I always give a nod. It's like, hey. I give a nod or say hello, but that's it. So I rarely ever talk to people on the flight. If someone's talking to me and they seem nice, then yeah, I'll talk to them. And I've had some good conversations on planes, but very rarely. Ram says, are you an introvert? No, I don't want to talk on the plane. But no, I'm not an introvert. I just do not want to talk on the plane. Teresa says, be sure to not sit next to me. Okay, Teresa, we'll keep that in mind. That's surprising me. You seem so talkative. Well, I'm talkative on video. I'm talkative with friends. I'm talkative if I meet someone and we're sitting down for coffee or beer. Oh, but not in public transportation, not on the airplane. I don't like doing that type of talking in those situations. It's not so much fun. Have you ever done a story on the Roxy LIR dog? I didn't even know there was a dog associated with the Long Island Railroad. I know there's a famous dog associated with the trains in Tokyo, but I didn't know about the dog here in Long Island Railroad. I will look into him. Roxy. Have you heard that Londoners say that you must not smile at strangers on the tube? Yep. I heard that even eye contact on the tube is a big no-no. Well, I remember experiencing myself on the tube, which is the London Underground, which is their rapid transit system. I remember kind of like everyone's like kind of dodging eye contact. You can't even establish eye contact for a second with a Londoner on the tube. The two female British prime ministers were Margaret Thatcher and Theresa May. Okay, Theresa May. I didn't know too much about Theresa May. Do you believe in astrology? I believe that yes, there's a lot of interesting things in astrology. I don't take it completely verbatim. Some people take it very seriously. I think that sometimes that could be a little bit limiting, because I've had experiences. I had one date many years ago where it was going super well, and I was telling it was going super well. We were having amazing conversation, amazing rapport. We're all laughing and enjoying ourselves. And then she says, "Hey, what's your sign?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm a Gemini." And suddenly her expression just went, "Oh, you're a Gemini." And I'm like, I was very concerned. I had no idea why this even happened. And I'm like, oh, what sign are you? I'm a Scorpio. We're not meant for each other. And we kind of lingered there for 30 minutes trying to keep on conversing, but it was extremely awkward. I can tell that she was no longer into it, and we separated ways. It was the weirdest experience that I've ever had associated with astrology. A complete 180, really 180. Because if you meet someone that you don't get along with, and you can tell in the beginning, but this one, we were genuinely getting along. And then it just like died the moment I said my sign. I'm interested. What's your background? Says Sarah. Puerto Rican. Judith says, oh dear. But yeah, I believe there's a lot of validity in astrology. Unfortunately, I do see a lot of people taking it way too seriously, like that instance where it just kind of limits. It's limiting. Like, you don't know who I am. Why suddenly assume who I am? I always mispronouncing your name, so sorry. Myrna. Yeah, do let me know if I'm pronouncing your name correct, because I know you've been tuning in for a while. I just assume it's Myrna. But Myrna says, Scorpio. That says it all. Ariel, she saved you from heartbreak. Maybe. Well, judging from that expression, from that turn of events, oh yeah, definitely not for me. My birthday's Valentine's Day, says Nicole. Oh, that's so cool, Nicole. Armchair Guru says, dodge a bullet there. Indeed I did. When are you going to London? Stay tuned. Thursday will be the first show. Why would the position of the stars affect our personalities? How would that work exactly? So, Robert, there's a few reasons. The menstrual cycle of women are oddly on schedule with the moon cycle. There has been a lot of research to find out if it is really correlated and related, or if it's coincidental. But it's a bit weird that it has the same cycle. The seas all around our world are also in accordance to the moon cycle. There's gravitational pull from the moon actually affects the tides of our seas. And it also affects the gravitational and the magnetic pulls of places on Earth. And then we have these huge, gigantic planets as well that affect our gravitational fields. So if a moon can affect the very seas, who's to say that huge cosmic bodies that pull on the gravitation and emit electromagnetic energy and radiation don't affect our own minds and how they work, our own bodies? We are not separate from the cosmos. We are in the cosmos. So there might be, if you were to get very scientific, there is definitely some validity to some cosmic bodies affecting our lives, like the moon. But do all the planets affect our personalities? Then scientifically, that's still up in the air. But I think there's something there. Okay, everyone. I'll answer a few more rapid fire questions. Thank you, everyone, so much for tuning in. This was an amazing conversation. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Press that thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Let me know what's your favorite New York City movie. Right now, the favorite recent movie, not movie, but miniseries, is Dash and Lily on Netflix. One of the best recent miniseries I've seen about New York, in New York. I'm a Virgo and very practical, very interesting. I like your beliefs. Have you ever heard about the Hourglass Tavern? No, I have not. I will look into it. I went there years ago and they literally put Hourglass on the table and when it was empty, it's time to leave. Oh no, that's terrible. I do not like the sound of that. They say that surgeons have more bleeding during full moons. Yeah, yep. Cynthia says, we're all made of stars. Yeah, indeed. Disfruté esto mucho, says Nomades. Oh, thank you. We're the children of the universe. Have you ever watched The Gilded Age? Not yet, but I'm very tempted to watch it tonight. Let me know. Do you recommend The Gilded Age? Very interesting. I like your beliefs. Ariel, I told you before, you have a great personality. New information always, says Sarah. Oh, thank you so much, Sarah. I appreciate that. Libra, but not convinced, says Eyeball. Cool, indeed. Oh no, Ariel's a Scorpio. I can't watch Urbanist anymore. No, I'm a Gemini, Expert Life. I'm a Gemini. The woman that I talked about was the Scorpio. Don't worry, Expert Life. I'm a Gemini. What other shows are you watching? Not much. I've been watching videos about the UK. Diana left a coffee fund. Thank you so much. Getting super chats in philosophical chats are always very, very kind. Thank you so much. Catherine says, "Do you have? You're a Gemini, so do you have a twin?" No, but I am a different man at a different time. When the cameras go dark, there's another Ariel. There's an Ariel. What other? Oh yeah, I already answered that. And sir, do you have a? I have read a book. Why would stars affect our daily lives like they're infinite distance from us men? They're not infinite distance. They're massive distances, but gravitational forces are very, very, very strong in our universe. Well, they're strong in the context that they move huge cosmic bodies. So they might have an effect. I mean, gravitational forces allow us to keep our feet on the ground. So there might be something there. I'm a British Gemini. Hey, cool, rocks. Ariel's the werewolf of London. So next time, we'll see you on Thursday? Yes. Oh no, next time is tomorrow, Saturday at 1 p.m. I'll do one more live here in New York. And then Thursday, I'll be off. But I might do extra live streams. Maybe put on those notifications on Facebook, write !notify, !notify on Facebook, new feature. It turns on the notifications for you. If you write it down right now, write down !notify, the actual symbol, !notify, all one together. On YouTube, press that bell notification and you'll get alerts of when I go live. Otherwise, it's Thursdays through Sundays at 3 p.m. UK time. That's 10 a.m. New York. That's 4 p.m. the rest of Western Europe. And you can tell the other times looking into PDT and Hawaii, and there's a lot of other places you can watch from. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. This was an amazing conversation. Great questions. I hope through this you got to know me a little bit more aside from just the YouTube videos I do and TikTok videos and Facebook videos about history, food, architecture, and urbanism. I'm glad you maybe got to know me a little bit more. We got to know you a little bit more with the interesting questions you asked. Everyone, keep being awesome. And always,
Sorry, the music stopped since your Spotify account is being used on another device.
That's right. Always put on Spotify again. Always keep on exploring. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.